Hello and welcome to the next episode of my channel where I'll be taking up a lesson called The Interview from Class 12. This lesson is actually an excerpt taken from Christopher Sylvester's Introduction to the Penguin Book of Interview. In this excerpt, Christopher Sylvester talks about the invention of interview in the field of journalism. What came into being a little over 130 years ago has made a place for itself in journalism. Now, every educated person in the world will have read or come across at least one interview. Celebrities are interviewed every now and then, and some are interviewed repeatedly. Therefore, it is possible that different people will have different opinion about interviews, especially of its merits and methods. To some, it is the greatest source of truth and a form of art. However, others, mainly celebrities, feel a victim of interviews. They claim that it is an intrusion in their private lives. They feel that interviews are entering into their private lives, that it is trespassing, not entering with permission into their private lives. They look down upon it because they feel lowered because of interviews. Some famous celebrities are or were against strictly against interviews. According to V.S. Naipaul, people tend to lose a part of themselves because they are wounded by interviews. Another author, Lewis Carroll, never agreed to give interviews because he detested being a victim. This is why he avoided meeting new people, interviewers and fans asking for his autograph. Rudyard Kipling had once quoted saying to the reporters that interviews were immoral, a crime, cowardly and vile. So we can see that so many authors and celebrities had always been against interview because they thought interview was a trespass into their privacy. H.G. Wells, although agreed to be interviewed frequently, felt that interviewing was a great ordeal, was a great task. Later, he himself interviewed Joseph Stalin. For Saul Bellow, another personality, interviews were like thumbprints on his windpipe. He felt as if he was being choked. Somebody was actually choking him. Somebody was actually pressing his windpipe. Okay, whenever he was interviewed, he felt choked. He used this expression to refer to the pressure and discomfort felt by a celebrity while giving an interview. There may be many drawbacks of interviews, yet Mr. Sylvester, that is the author of the book, feels that it is an extremely serviceable medium of communication. According to another personality, Mr. Dennis Bryan, it is because one person is asking another person questions that we come to know that person. Hence, the interviewer always holds a position of power and influence. So it is through an interview that we come to know the person who is being interviewed. So obviously the interviewer holds a lot of power and influence on our minds. So this was the first part of the chapter. So इस पार्ट में हमने क्या सीखा है कि इंटरव्यू का महत्व क्या है. एक इंटरव्यू के द्वारा ही हम दूसरे इंसान को या सेलिब्रिटी को जान पाते हैं. लेकिन अगर हम सेलिब्रिटीज की बात करें तो उनके हिसाब से इंटरव्यूज जो है वो उनको जीने नहीं दे रहा है, क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि उनकी प्राइवेट लाइफ में इंटरव्यू बिना पूछे घुसे जा रहा है और जब जब वो इंटरव्यू देते हैं उनके लाइफ का एक हिस्सा इंटरव्यू चुरा ले जाता है। फिर हमने बहुत सारे ऑथर्स के बारे में पढ़ा सुना, जैसे कि लुइस कैरल, जैसे कि वी.एस. नायपॉल, जैसे कि रुडयार्ड किपलिंग, एच.जी. वेल्स, कि वो कितना डरते थे और कितना दूर भागते थे इंटरव्यू देने से। लेकिन बाद में एच.जी. वेल्स ने खुद दूसरे पर्सनालिटी का इंटरव्यू लिया। सो हम चाहे या ना चाहे, इंटरव्यू जर्नलिज्म का एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट हिस्सा है और जो भी इंटरव्यू लेता है उसके हाथ में बहुत पावर और दूसरों को इन्फ्लुएंस करने की शक्ति आती है। Now we come to the part 2 of this lesson. This extract is from interview of Mr. Umberto Eco, writer of the famous novel The Name of the Rose. The interviewer is Mr. Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu, the newspaper. So Mr. Mukund was the one who was taking the interview. The readers come to know about the various aspects of Mr. Eco's writing styles and ideas. Umberto Eco was a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy. He was known as a scholar of semiotics, literary interpretation. Eventually, he started writing fictions, more or less at the age of 50. And that is when, in 1980, his novel, The Name of the Rose, won him many awards. During the interview, Mr. Eco says that it may appear as if he is doing many things all at once. Okay? He might be a professor and he's writing novels, and it seems as if he's doing many things at once. However, he insists that he has always pursued his philosophical interests and continues to do so through his writings and novels. He reveals his secret of success. What is his secret of success? He says that he utilizes and takes advantage of the empty spaces in between his tasks and meetings. So whenever little bit of time he gets, whatever time he gets, he uses it in writing. Okay? And he has great interest in philosophy, and that he puts in front of us in the form of his novels. Mr. Padmanabhan then asked Mr. Eco about the playful and personal quality in his writing, whether it is fiction, whether it is based on true story or non-fiction or any of his scholarly work. He wants to know, how did it come to be? Was it, how did he started writing? Did it come naturally, or he adopted this style from someone? To this, Mr. Eco replies that he has always had such narrative writing style. He says novel writing happened to him accidentally. So his writing style is the same. He has, that you can say the inbuilt writing style, but he started writing novel accidentally. One day, when he had nothing to do, he started writing narratives. So we can see that Mr. Eco is also not very fond of giving interviews, but then he's not scared of being interviewed. He is giving very frank answers, and without getting perturbed, without getting disturbed. Mr. Umberto Eco identifies himself as an academician and likes to do so. He has done more philosophical writing, over 40, than fictional writing. Fictional he has done only 5. He has written only 5 novels. But philosophical writing, around 40. Yet, he is more popular as a fiction writer than an academician. When Mr. Padmanabhan asked Mr. Eco the reason behind the massive success of his novel, The Name of the Rose, Mr. Eco replies that he doesn't know either. He does not know why. He says it was probably, he also doesn't know why it became famous. He says it was probably because of the time when it was written, which Umberto Eco feel was simply appropriate, was the right time for such a novel to be written. At that time, people were not, great critics did not feel that such a novel would get read by people. Such difficult topics would be read by people. But then Umberto Eco felt the otherwise. He goes on to say that had the book come out 10 years earlier or later, the novel would not have received so much acclaim or praise. So इस पार्ट में हम ये देखते हैं, अम्बर्टो इको नाम के प्रोफेसर का इंटरव्यू मुकुंद पद्मनाभन ले रहे हैं. अम्बर्टो इको एक प्रोफेसर भी है, साथ में वो नॉवेल्स भी लिखते हैं. तो लोग कभी कभी उनसे पूछते हैं कि तुम्हारे पास इतना काम करने का वक्त कैसे आता है और तुम इतने सारे चीज एक साथ कैसे करते हो. उस पर प्रोफेसर कहते हैं कि वो उनका जो खाली स्पेसेस है, 2-3 काम के बीच में थोड़ा बहुत भी जब समय मिलता है, उसमें वो नॉवेल्स लिखा करते हैं. और उनका ये नॉवेल जो नेम ऑफ रोज है, ये उनके हिसाब से इसलिए इतना फेमस हो गया क्योंकि जिस समय ये लिखा गया था वो समय इसके लिए सबसे ज्यादा अप्रोप्रिएट था. अगर इसे पहले या बाद में लिखा जाता तो ये उतना फेमस नहीं हो पाता. उनके हिसाब से उनका नरेटिव स्टाइल तो उनका खुद का है, लेकिन नॉवल लिखना उन्होंने एक्सीडेंटली स्टार्ट किया. I hope you have understood the chapter. These are the main points, facts which you should know in the chapter. Please like my video and let me know if there is a doubt. Thank you. Have a nice day.